The driver caught it just in time. A major crash left one man dead and a law enforcement officer in the hospital. It happened as he tried to pull over the driver of a van. And the Texas Senate will start its trial of impeached Attorney General Ken Paxton no later than August 28th.
We had a few little showers along the coastal bend today, basically Houston to the crossroads. Nothing severe, nothing serious, just little garden variety showers. But there's something brewing in the Gulf of Mexico that looks like a tropical system, and we'll be looking at it coming up in just a moment.
And a state champion is following her heart and staying close to home instead of traveling cross country for college. We see why in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia is off tonight. A little progress made today during a Luther Hotel virtual hearing. Judge Polly Spencer gave the estate another week until June 6th to report the information about what money was paid in attorney fees. Former owner Jack Finley, as well as his sister, did not want to demolish the Luther Hotel in Palacios. No word as to why investors want to demolish the hotel. A face-to-face hearing on June 22nd at the Matagorda County Courthouse hopefully will provide the accounting of the estate and maybe provide more answers. A two-vehicle crash happened at the intersection of Blythe and Glasgow this evening. A 77-year-old woman and a passenger were driving westbound on Glasgow in a white 2006 Dodge Caravan, while a 42-year-old man and a passenger were traveling east on Glasgow in a truck. They were both driving towards each other when the lady failed to drive in a single lane, crossing left over the center line and sideswiping the truck. The woman was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities say the two men in the truck did not need any medical attention. A close call for a moving truck this morning. Just before 9:30, the driver noticed smoke and flames coming from the back passenger side wheels of his truck. He was trying to make a delivery to a home in the 100 block of Fieldstone Road when he had to call 911.
When I turn around the block, I hear boom, and suddenly I start seeing on the back by my mirrors, and I see the smoke coming out of my tires.
The Victoria Fire Department says the cause of the fire is still under investigation, but appears to have started when the front brake drums locked, heating up the wheels and the tires, which started the fire. No one was hurt. The Port Lavaca Fire Department responded to a truck fire on Broadway Street this morning. The Port Lavaca Wave reports the fire was put out, but authorities did warn drivers traveling down Broadway to slow down and watch for emergency responders. A DPS trooper was hit by a vehicle and ended up pinned in between cars while helping a drunk driver stuck in the middle of Interstate 10 in Chambers County. KTRK reports the trooper was taken to a hospital, but the driver who crashed into the officer died. Authorities said the trooper was talking and aware of the crash. He suffered lacerations to his face. Jugging is a crime when a person watches someone visit a bank or an ATM and then follows them to their next stop. They wait for the person to leave so they can break into the vehicle and steal the money. The Victoria Police Department says to hide your money before you leave the bank or ATM. This brings us to your viewer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's your question. Do you fear jugging will become more common in your area? Yes or no? Here are the numbers. 75% of the voters say yes, 25% say no. We thank you for voting. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. 2 days away from the start of hurricane season. Mac, saw a little blip in the Gulf there. Should we be worried?
Well, I'll tell you, we're at that point where we're going to have to watch the Atlantic and the Gulf every day, make sure nothing moves. We have something moving. Does not appear to be a tropical system or a storm, but it does. It appears like one, but it's not. And I'll explain in a moment. 74 degrees right about now, rather balmy out there. It was 90 this afternoon. And here's the worst part. That's the average temperature for this time of year, 90. It'll be 90 till, I don't know, October. We'll be back with more on your forecast in a moment.
Mac, thank you. 6 top officials and employees of the Texas Attorney General's office have taken a leave of absence to help defend suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton in his impeachment trial this summer. The Texas Tribune reports Paxton is Texas' first statewide office holder to be impeached in more than 100 years. Senators also agreed to hold a trial no later than August 28th. Governor Greg Abbott demanded that a special session of the legislature start. He wanted 2 items passed, bills on property tax relief and migrant smuggling, while the House Tuesday passed bills on both subjects and then adjourned, meaning they cannot meet for the rest of the special session. The Texas Tribune reports one House bill would use $12.3 billion in state funds to reduce school property taxes across the state. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. In India, surveillance camera records the brutal murder of a teenage girl while people just walk by. Also ahead, multiple arrests were made in connection to a Memorial Day mass shooting on a Florida beach. But first, your main military hero.
Colonel Mike Petrosh is your military hero for the month of May. He was born and raised in Ganado, graduating from Ganado High in 1974, eventually going on to the University of Houston, joining their ROTC program. Then in 1980, he joined the United States Army. Coming from a family of service, with his father serving and many uncles who served in World War II. And it wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision.
And I will just tell you from early on, other guys played cowboys and Indians or whatever. I played Army when I was a kid. I saw a T-shirt the other day that says Army, because nobody played Navy as a kid.
And to our Navy viewers out there, don't worry, Petrosh said it's all love.
I love my Navy folks. I will tell you, with us, it's one team, one fight. And we might harass each other, but when it comes down to it, it's kind of like family. Okay, I can mess with my family, but don't mess with my family. You don't mess with my family.
So in 1980, Petrosh joined the United States Army and was a field artilleryman, but would later go on to aviation school, flying the Cobra helicopters and Black Hawks.
I really enjoyed flying the Cobras and shooting things, but flying other soldiers around was really kind of a joy to me. The most meaningful part of my career was the fact that I got to fly with Vietnam veterans, Vietnam Cobra pilots. Oh, they taught me things that you never learned in flight school. It was funny because the warrant officers would go, "Okay, Lieutenant, give me the controls. I'll show you how to really fly this thing."
Working that closely with Vietnam veterans gave him a deep appreciation for that generation of America's soldiers.
You can hate the war. I get that. Don't hate the soldier, And so I just, and that's part of, I guess, my motivation for doing this. I don't want veterans ever to experience what the Vietnam veterans experienced when they came home.
Petrosh was in the Army during times of conflict, Bosnia and Kosovo, Iraqi freedom, and enduring freedom. Though never deployed, he was ready.
People ask me, they said, Colonel, you ever get deployed? And I said, no. And I will be honest with you, that is my one regret, because I almost feel like the football player who knows he could play but doesn't ever make it into the big game. I know that might sound weird for folks, but I always wondered, but I mean, I had plenty of soldiers that told me, sir, you would do fine.
As he moved up the ranks, he was eventually promoted out of the cockpit, as he said, but continued his service.
My last 2 jobs were to mobilize, train, and deploy soldiers, and so that was tough. I will tell you, that's the one thing that would keep me up at night, is did I do a good enough job so that I will bring back these soldiers to their families.
He also worked in Germany with their military.
Nobody treats their soldiers as well as the United States, and we've got room to improve. But I've seen how other countries do it, and I'm very proud of the United States for making sure that veterans are treated with respect and that we honor their sacrifices.
Petrosh has a wife and 5 kids and 9 grandchildren, which keeps him busy. But when he's not riding his brand new trike or spending time with family, he's working on Warriors Weekend. That's because Petrosh retired in 2007, but his servant leadership didn't stop there. He brought the Field of Honor and Warriors Weekend to the Crossroads, a huge event that's now on its 17th year in the Crossroads. Petrosh got the idea in 2006 while in South Dakota and saw their version of the Field of Honor when he had to deliver a flag to the family of a young man who was killed in action.
It was just so difficult for them, but at the same time, they knew that there was a brotherhood out there that was grieving with them. And I vowed right then and there, I said, if I ever move down to South Texas, back home, I'm going to bring that idea with me. So in 2009, we did.
In conjunction with the Field of Honor is Warriors Weekend, where wounded warriors from all over the country are flown in to enjoy a weekend of fishing in Port O'Connor. This year bringing in over 300 warriors to the Crossroads, all expenses paid.
Most of these guys that are coming in probably had a friend who came home under that flag.
And he couldn't do it alone, wanting to thank all his supporters and volunteers who make Warriors Weekend possible every year.
I have so many wonderful, selfless volunteers that come out and make all this happen. Props to Ron Koshin and the board of Warriors Weekend, the corporate sponsors, all the individual sponsors who donate their money and their resources so that we can do this every year. You know, this is the 17th year.
This year saw 1,540 flags, but Petrosh hopes to include every Golden Crescent veteran.
Now, with the numbers of veterans that are here in the Golden Crescent, I should probably have a 10,000 flag field. And hopefully that'll happen one of these days. You know, maybe somebody watching this will go, hey, you know what? I need to catch the Colonel's vision for a huge field out there. Let's do it. Let's do it, Victoria. Let's do it, Golden Crescent. And we'd have us a 10,000 flag field out there. That's the goal. No veteran left behind.
So thank you, Colonel Petrosh, for your service and your continued service to bring the Field of Honor to the Crossroads. To find out more about that amazing annual local event, you can check them out at warriorsweekend.org or come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Adam Seibel reporting in Victoria, KAVU TV 25 News Now.
Florida made 2 arrests in connection to a Memorial Day shooting at a Hollywood beach. Police searching for at least 3 others. They say the arrests already made are on gun charges. 9 people, including several children, were hospitalized due to Monday's shooting. Hollywood's mayor spoke out about the violence.
We have a lot to be thankful for. We have a strong community, a resilient community, and we have a very inviting community. But that doesn't mean that anyone can come in here and take advantage of our peaceful, beautiful gathering place, Hollywood Beach, and come in here and act in a criminal fashion. It's never happened before, and we sure as hope to God that it won't happen again.
Hollywood police say of the 9 victims, 4 are minors and 5 are adults. This morning, 3 adults were treated and released from the hospital, while the other victims were in stable condition. In India, a 16-year-old girl was brutally murdered in public Sunday in a busy alleyway. It was all caught on security camera, including people walking by and doing nothing to help.
Surveillance video catches a Delhi street 9:15 on Sunday evening. What the man in blue is about to do is too violent to be shown. In the next moments, a 16-year-old girl's life is taken, stabbed and bludgeoned with a rock against the wall of a house. Witnesses pass by, but no one intervenes.
Violence against women is so pervasive in India that a young girl can be stabbed in public in a busy neighborhood against the wall of a home.
The killing of this teenage girl is the latest in a long line of violent crimes against women in India. This time it's on film, shared rapidly online, and it has gripped the nation. The man in blue has been arrested for the murder and named by police simply as Sahil. Police say the two were in a relationship and had an argument shortly before the killing. The family pleading for justice. Even as across India, demands grow to do more to protect women and punish their male attackers. But public anger is no comfort to a family stricken by grief at the loss of their child.
I feel lifeless. I miss her so much. She was such a good child. What to do?
Her mother inconsolable as her daughter was cremated Monday.
She went to the bazaar to buy some things and then went to celebrate a friend's birthday. She had gone to buy some new sandals for the birthday. The sandals are now at the police station.
Life continues in this poor neighborhood in northwest Delhi. Investigators have marked a small cross in the place where the young girl was killed. One more place where women aren't safe from men. Vedika Sood, CNN, New Delhi.
A Russian spy whale is in Swedish waters. The beluga is famous for sightings like this one in Norway in 2019. Experts say it's possible the Russian military trained him after he was spotted wearing a harness with camera mounts. An advocate group says the beluga recently swam away from Oslo, where boat traffic posed a dangerous situation for him. They praised Swedish authorities for closing a bridge and taking other actions to keep the whale safe. Mac, that's a whale of a story.
Yes, it is, and it's amazing. I guess he's an unwilling spy or unwitting spy because he doesn't want to be, running around with a camera on his shoulder. But amazing what they can do. Those belugas are incredible. Anyway, good evening, folks. What day is it? I just got back from vacation. I'm sorry. I still got barbecue sauce in my ears, We had some showers that rolled through the area this afternoon. This is what I call garden variety stuff because it pops in the daytime and then it just dies. Once the sun goes down, you can see it pop right there. Most of the area's got a little sprinkling and then it's over. That's going to be gone, but we do have something in the Gulf of Mexico that we need to look at from the tropical nature of it. We'll be looking at that in a moment. Stay tuned. And good morning.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is requesting information about the murder of Robert Lucirio. On October 24th, 2003, 15-year-old Robert Lucirio was shot and killed. He was in an apartment on the 3100 block of Sam Houston Drive. If you have any information about Lucirio's death, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 572-4200 or submit a tip by using the P3 tip app on your Android or Apple device or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Well, good evening, everybody. The heat and humidity is definitely with us, and it's going to be here for quite some time, probably all the way to October. We managed to get up to 90 today, and we'll be there again tomorrow. Today, we had a nice little bloom of thunder showers that sort of popped up about 3 o'clock, rolled inland, and they all fell apart with the setting of the sun, because these are all driven by heat. Once the sun comes out, the atmosphere starts warming up, it starts rising, and you saw that happening there. Otherwise, there's a big area of Texas, there's not much happening. In fact, even the storms that are firing along the dry line are coming in and falling apart. So that tells me that that pressure is high enough to prevent that kind of activity from rolling in our direction. That's what I always worry about. But for the next couple of days, we are going to watch as things move slightly, okay? The bubble of high pressure is here, that's why it's clear. The storms are here, they're going to roll this way, but this whole bubble is sliding over a little bit. As a result, we're going to be under high pressure, and that's going to cut down on any chance for any of those little afternoon showers to pop up. That being said, then we put our eyes on this area of low pressure. You can see the yellow line there. It means it's almost a circular pattern, and there is wind in it. And you can see over the next couple of days, it's going to wind around, looks like a tropical system, and then it's going to run into the west coast of Florida, and they're probably going to get 4 to 6 inches of rain out of this. That's not exactly good. Rain is always good, but getting that now means they're going to be saturated when the next big one comes, and so it's going to be interesting. So this is a tropical storm that isn't a tropical storm, but it is a rainmaker, and it's not a wind maker. That's one thing for sure. We're going to be watching that very carefully, because now it's that time of the season. Let me get your eyes adjusted over here. Here's Florida, right about there, the Caribbean. This is the mid-Atlantic, and Africa is way over here. But I just wanted you to see we have 1, 2, 3 easterly waves rolling across the equator. Now, the easterly waves are the embryos of what will become a tropical storm, because this is not driven by a front. This is actually its own little circulation caused by the rapid rise of the very warm air down there. So basically, I'm telling you that we're getting set. What has to happen is this has to move up a little bit, maybe 200 miles to be in the main development region. But let's just say we're going to have to be watching it very carefully all the way through the season. For those of you in Port Lavaca, tomorrow morning you're getting up at 71. Going to be sunny and humid all day. No real rain chance. Getting up to 87 your high. And then your 7-day forecast. Well, warm and steamy all the way through. And then by the time we get to the weekend, we'll start picking up a chance of a few showers rolling around the area. All right, that is your 7-day forecast. Just want to remind you that we have a QR code there available for you to scan and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now here's Gino with sports.
Thanks, Mac. The Shiner Comanches are looking to make it back to the state tournament for the 3rd straight year. That's coming up after the break.
25 News Now brings you Storm Prep 2023. Your first warned storm team will take us through this year's hurricane predictions. Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez speaks with descendants of Indianola, a town that was wiped out from back-to-back hurricanes. Adarius McCormick explains just how simple evacuating really is. June 5th on KAVU TV at 6:30 p.m. Storm Prep 2023. Stream it live or on demand on Crossroads Today Plus. View it and our Crossroads Today YouTube page.
At a crossroads, a local two-time state champion is deciding to stay close to home instead of heading cross-country to continue her powerlifting career in college. Instead, she has bigger plans. East's Alyssa Sauceda has dominated the state powerlifting meet the past 2 seasons by breaking multiple state records along with winning the state title in back-to-back years. She has multiple offers and even got accepted to Midland University in Fremont, Nebraska, which is one of the best powerlifting programs in the nation, but decided to turn them down for a local school. Her reason, to start a powerlifting program at UHV.
I like the environment. Like, everybody is so nice and happy to be there, and they're really helpful. They've helped me through every single step, like financial aid and starting this team and just walking through the campus. They're the best people to be around.
Sauceda is in communication with the administrators and school body to try to make her dream come true of creating a powerlifting team and being a coach/lifter for that team and help lead them to a national championship. Until then, she wants to keep her grades up and build her wealth. She said it was not all rainbows and butterflies to get where she is today.
I would say it was a series of ups and downs, a bunch of hills and valleys, but especially looking back now, it's kind of I'm glad that those 2 years of being in the valley were there, because I would not be the person that I am today on top of the hill, living how I am if I didn't go through that.
Sauceda is undecided on what she is going to major at UHV, but is leaning towards ministry or kinesiology. Then there was one team, the lone Crossroads area team still alive in the playoffs are the Shiner Comanches baseball team. The Comanches are heading to the regional finals and are 1 game away from making it back to the state tournament for the 3rd straight year. Shiner is coming off its 2-game sweep over Mumford to make round 5. The Comanches will head down to Marion for the start of a 3-game series. Game 1 against Johnson City is going to be on Thursday with a first pitch time of 7 o'clock. Game 2 will be Friday at 5 o'clock, and if needed, Game 3 will follow shortly after. Well, the NBA Finals are set, and the 2 teams that are playing for the coveted Larry O'Brien Trophy are the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. The Heat are getting 3 days of rest, while the Nuggets are getting nearly 10. Each of their series have gone very different, with the Nuggets sweeping the Lakers, and the Miami Heat almost blew a 3-0 lead to the Celtics. The 2 teams will meet Thursday in Denver with a 7:30 tip-off. Well, that's your sports. Don, back to you.
All right, Gino, thank you. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, the Axiom mission crew successfully undocked from the International Space Station today. They reported record travel screenings over Memorial Day weekend. Today, the agency said on Twitter nearly 9.8 million people were screened at airports nationwide over the 4-day weekend. TSA said Friday's screening volume was about 2.74 million, the highest post-pandemic single-day record. A Chinese fighter jet cuts right in front of a U.S. Air Force plane. The U.S. military released video showing the Chinese fighter jet crossing in front of the nose of the U.S. plane. The U.S. says the Air Force plane was conducting safe and routine operations. The U.S. says it will continue to fly in the region and has voiced its concerns about the incident through diplomatic channels. Are we going to have good flying weather maybe the rest of this week, or maybe a little shaky on the weekend?
Yes, I think as long as there's no MiG-25s coming down this, we'll be fine. We are looking at lots of sunshine, lots of heat and humidity over the next couple of days. Less chance for rain for 3 days, and then the weekend we start picking up real nice puffy clouds and some afternoon little showers. None of that is severe. We'll just call it garden variety shower activity by the time we get to the weekend. Don?
All right, good showers for the garden variety. All right, and the Axiom AX2 mission crew headed back to Earth. The SpaceX Dragon Freedom capsule undocked for the International Space Station just after 11 a.m. The mission, carrying a 4-man crew, launched last week. It was the second private mission for Axiom Space. During their 8 days aboard the orbiting lab, astronauts helped perform scientific experiments and conducted research. The mission is set to splash down off the coast of Florida anytime now. Sometime tonight, it will splash down in Florida. Once again, SpaceX working their magic with NASA.
So it blows my mind that these things come back down and land.
Yeah.
They
land in water.
We're so used to that. They splash down, we go pick them up. Now that these guys, it boggles the mind. And I was going to be an astronaut, but didn't quite. Then I got into Algebra 2, and I said, never mind.
Well, we're glad you're here back on.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Join Carolina Astroin and meteorologist Trey Mining. 25 News Now, sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.